Thank you, Leopoldo. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for Poetry Bridge and for the chance for all us folks to read, write, and be present, even though we're pandemic. Now I'm back. Hello. Okay, now we're back. So greetings to all my friends. I see the East Coast, I see the Midwest, I see Old Mexico, I see New Mexico, I see California, I see the Pacific Northwest, and I'm just thrilled that you all have turned out tonight. And thank you for being here. I'm going to read from Sideways Through Zion, which is my book published under the Embajadores Press imprint. Lee Gold, the editor of the press, is here. And Lee, if you'd like to put a website into the chat, people may want to connect with us. And my friend and collaborator, Craig Baldwin, is also here. And tech gods, if the tech gods are with us, I don't know which Greek we should be praying to. If the tech gods are with us, he will be doing a few songs that I wrote the lyrics for and he wrote the music for. We've been collaborating for years. Tonight's reading is dedicated to my dear and recently departed friend, Stephen J. Weinberg, poet, a fellow who I've been palling around with for the last 50 years, who passed away on Saturday. And I'm sure that if he is anywhere in the area, he's here. So Stephen, welcome, and this is for you. And I will begin. Sacred places. There are no paths to sacred places, only steps. One step after another, until one day you turn around and there you are, a sacred place unto yourself and like no other. All life, all living. Taking a line from Blake, this is for Reggie, for whom energy is eternal delight. All life, all living. All life has voice and sings of itself, a great and resounding song of itself. The choir of life sings life. Wind and the river, rain and the sun have voice and are alive. The flower and the clover and the dirt have voice, sing life, and are alive. Even the rocks have voice, sing songs so low and down, deep in a rumble and close to the ground, sing life and are alive. And the sky has a voice, sings blue, sings gray, sings cloud, and the clouds, sing life, and are alive. The child and the man, the woman and the child, the two-footed, four-footed, many-footed, no-footed, sing and are alive. And the dust and the bones in the grave have a voice. And death has a voice, a whisper and a rattle of life, takes life, gives life, and is alive. All life has voice and sings of itself, a great and resounding song of itself. The choir of life sings. Entrancement. When a forest enters your dream, you feel roots groaning toward water and leaves brushing sky. When a mountain enters your dream, you feel every stone trembling on its slope. When crow enters, you balance on thin branches, tasting breezes from the north. All the mad chemical jokes your brain tells itself are nothing when wind enters your dream and you ride rough currents, ecstatic and wild. And then, as always, dreams go to ground. Daylight slips across your face. Your eyelids flutter, and you beg your anxious animals for just a little more sleep. We're going to do a blues for Coyote, or Craig is going to do a blues for Coyote. We refer to the song as our greatest hit. Craig has been my constant collaborator. He's the music man. So here's the blues for Coyote, lyrics by yours truly, music and performance by Craig. And Leopoldo, if you could put Craig into the spotlight.
Is Jasper available?
I will do that. Give me a moment here. There we go.
Hey, hi everyone. Oh, look, my lovely wife joined. So this is Jasper, and Jasper is going to introduce the song, Blues for Coyote. You can set him down. So the music is really just a vehicle for the beautiful words that that Richard has written. So this is a Native American flute. It has nothing to do with the song that I'm going to do, but it helps Jasper get in touch with the distant relatives, the coyote. Blues for Coyote. Thank you, Jasper. So since it's Blues for Coyote, it's just a really simple, simple little blues shuffle that we have this in. Let's go. So listen to the words. He's a coyote, baby, out looking for a thrill. Just a trickster, honey, sitting on top of the hill. He stays up all night singing coyote song, travels through time, brings his friends along. He's a coyote, baby, out looking for a thrill. He's always been here, ain't nothing he hasn't seen. Yeah, he's always been here, standing betwixt and between. He's a rambler and a roamer all around the universe. He might be greeted with a prayer, might be greeted with a curse. He's always been here, ain't nothing he hasn't seen. Now I met him in Jerusalem, met him in old Santa Fe. We've been in situations where we didn't want to stay. I've seen him in a nightclub, I've seen him in a church, I've seen him in a hotel room in places much, much worse. He's everywhere, baby. We even had a drink in Paris, France. He's a hungry critter, never gets his fill. He's a varmint, babe, circling round the kill. He might be hunting 'cause he's starving. He might be hunting 'cause he's bored. If he's in your dreams, honey, you better try to find the door, 'cause he's hungry, baby, and he never gets his fill. He's a coyote, baby, out looking for a thrill. Just a coyote, honey, sitting on top of the hill. He stays up all night singing coyote songs, travels through time and brings his friends along. He's a trickster, baby, out looking for a thrill. Blues for Coyote.
Yay. Hey, thank you, Craig. Okay, we're going to do a short history, beginning to end. In all glory. In all glory. Explosive, ragged, aflame, a raging expansion, extending and delineating everything. 2. Human beings came lumbering onto the scene, baring our teeth and scratching at parasites. And here we are, straddling cyberspace, baring our teeth and scratching. 3. Bloody century, the 20th. Red ants living in a red ant hill, given the gift of fire. We burnt some cities to a crisp, and all the people in them. 4. Lumbering we were, and lumbering still, we crashed the 21st, turned the jets up high, and ruined dinner for everyone. Then we left the kitchen with the oven on. 5. Billionaires in rocket ships, where are they going to run to? In all glory, mouth wide, swallows a fly. Perhaps we'll die. A short history. This next is a piece called Scars, and it's for a friend who has the most beautiful scar on her head that I've ever seen, elegant scar. But these are really not about her scars, they're about other scars. Scars. If I could weave all my scars and wear them as a mask, would people say they'd seen the real me at last? I'm looking at a jagged 8-inch scar down my right knee. Rough. Surgeon went in twice. Turns white under suntan. Looks like nothing but a scar. I'm looking at the 4-inch doozy on my left wrist. Nothing but a scar. Same with the nick on my chin. 6 inches on my abdomen. Right foot, right arm. Wound anything, body, soul, landscape, leave a scar. It's a sign you have healed, sure, and it's a reminder you've been hurt. Old wounds, old old scars, no pain, constant reminders. Shelter in place. I've written a very long piece. It's a work in progress. It just keeps going on. It's called Under the Gun. It's about violence, specifically about violence in America, and Shelter in Place is an excerpt. Shelter in place has become a lesson and a means of survival in our schools. And I was wondering, days after January 6th, that if and when the next votes come up for common sense gun control, if the legislators will take some time to remember how they felt while they were under the gun on January 6th before they cast their vote and when they were sheltering in place. Anyway, this is called Shelter in Place.
Annie, come here.
Somebody needs to mute. Shelter in place. In the shelter, shelter of a thought. In the shelter of a gaze. Who watches? In the shelter, shelter of your arms. In the shelter of your heart, who watches? In the shelter, rooms and shadows. In the shelter, doorways, alleys. Who watches? Watches over you. In the shelter, words and phrases. In the shelter, silence, breath. In the shelter, life and death. Who watches? Who watches? Who watches over you? Everything is held. Even emptiness is contained. Bowing, a new poem, bowing. Bowing to this world and creation, to the quiet that will never attain silence. Bowing to the trees surrounding, bowing to the stars masked by daylight, bowing to honor our great star, bowing toward the infinite, which is eternity, bowing to honor your soul's journey, bowing to honor my own soul's journey, bowing to acknowledge the reaper of souls, bowing in gratitude, bowing. And now Craig is going to do one more song and then we'll finish up.
All right, I know that I can't have a dialogue with Richard, but I don't know what the name of this is, but it's really been growing on me in the last couple of days. So it's like a meditation. It really fits for the times that we're in. So I hope that that I can do it justice here with my voice and in and enjoy this. Save us from trouble. Protect us from our restless minds. Be with us in sorrow. And lead us to the joy we find. Our hearts are unbroken. Our spirits unbent. And every gift we have here on earth was surely heaven sent. Please guide our footsteps and keep us to the path. We know that each step we take could easily be our last. Our hearts are unbroken, our spirits unbent, and every gift we have here on earth was surely heaven sent. Our hearts are unbroken, our spirits unbent, and every gift we have here on earth was surely heaven sent.
Thank you, Craig. And here to close is a haiku for all of my friends in New Mexico. And the haiku is, silently he came and silently departed, snow on the mountain. Thank you. That's all.
Myself, and there we go.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you, Leopoldo, for organizing and introducing, and thank you, Craig, for the music, and Jasper for the howl. I had a Scottish Terrier, Nancy, who was a good howler. Unfortunately, she's not with me anymore, but she also had an inner coyote. But you'd have to trigger it. She'd have to see a squirrel in the park, and then that would set her off, and then she'd get going. So, well, I don't have musical accompaniment, but I believe in poetry as a conversation. And so since Richard started off talking about a friend of his who had died recently, I thought I can do one of those too. And so I'm reading largely from Dead Shark on the N Train, and there's some information in the chat about where to get that. And if you want to reach me or you want more information about me, the website's listed there too. So this is called Death Has Come In, with a line from Eliot, and you'll recognize the line from Eliot. Angus Barbieri, Scotsman, holds the Guinness World Record for the longest liquid fast. Lasted over a year before eating a boiled egg and a slice of buttered toast. 3 people fit into his old pants. Angus went on to live a happy life. Wife, kids, kept off the weight. You are not going to have that egg. Cancer 2.0 has launched. 3 weeks with only lemon ices and ice chips. Your lump the size of a grapefruit next to your colostomy bag from the last bout. The doctors have nothing more. Even the television set you love so much has spent its capacity to distract. Last time you were in hospital, we argued about politics, Kavanaugh on the screen. I yelled a lot about gender and stalked out. I am not a nice person. I sit here thinking mostly of myself, my relief the big C got you and not me. In the room, the women come and go. They jot on charts, no one talking of Michelangelo or time, except when the religious guy comes around. Burial plans, where, which dress, a sundress, a wig. How can I, a person full of words, not know what to say? You are always my best friend, you tell me, and try to smile. The truth is, we have not been close since high school. I want to touch you, but do not want to touch you. I am not a nice person. I cry, not out of empathy, repelled and scared. Your covers are pushed down and too much of you shows, and I don't say anything, and yet I put that shriveled flesh in this poem. The winter winds blow outside, the air is stifling. I pull off my scarf, my sweater, He knits on a chair. I roll up and fold, unfold, and roll out my hospital pass. I also have a kind of home and conversation to shelter in place. I work, as you heard in the introduction, at a university, and of course there are no school shootings now because there isn't any in-person school, but when there was, periodically there would be, a school would get shot up. And the cops came to the campus to talk to us about what to do in an active shooter situation. And this is called Active Shooter. It's practically a found poem, except for the ending. He had a well thought out system. He appeared off-brand weird. He was solo 98% of the time. He wasn't stupid any of the time. He appeared to know the building. He planned the operation. He was a quiet man, everyone said, never a problem. He was a problem. He was a monster. He was not a monster. He did a monstrous thing. He shot for 7 to 11 minutes. We didn't pay that extra minute of attention. We tried our concealment. The weapon's bullets penetrated our desks. The weapon's bullets penetrated the partitions between our cubicles. 38 cal, 9 mil, 12 gauge, M67 for the AK-47. The weapons penetrated our file cabinets. We confused concealment and cover. We had no cover. We were lizards dreaming like birds. So, as I said, I don't have a guitar, but I decided I could bring in a guitar poem. And this is called Hold Me Like You'll Never Let Me Go. And you probably remember that lyric, right? From Paul and Mary. In the street, I find an acoustic guitar, no name on it. So I decide it's mine and learn some chords from a pretty boy, 10 years younger, whom I retrieve from a Soho party. He plays in a garage band. He likes my long, ironed, straight hair, how I remove my clothes, their erratic cuts, easy to toss onto a chair. For a week, we don't leave the apartment. He makes no plans to go home, but home is Sweden, so that's understandable. I strum and roam through rooms, feeling like a folk goddess. I'm leaving on a jet plane, I sing. You ever spend a whole week naked talking about nothing but folk rock? But then we run out of food and being with him begins to seem like shoplifting. You ever do that? Take what you want just to see how it feels. So that's my guitar poem. I am on the East Coast and it's not yet serious night, although we're moving towards serious night. And so I thought I'd read this poem, Night Song, which is set during serious night. I used to think a frayed rug was a good rug, stories to tell, but I'm not so sure anymore. The stains of history keep me up at night, redder, bloodier than the stripes of the wool. 3:23 a.m. in my living room, where I never draw the shades. I pace barefoot under moonbeams, back and forth, so worn down, so unable to sleep. It feels as if I'm falling off the earth. I don't want to feel too much. I don't want disaster as a lover. On this, a serious night, the hysterical little dog across the way is shrieking again. When it finally stops its strung out lament, The moon is too high for me to take my turn howling. Someone somewhere singing. There must be someone somewhere singing. This is walking home. The girl walking home alone doesn't know what to do about the stranger who calls her name. He claims he has a gun. His knowing her name is a gun. He blocks her way. Rail track, chain link fence, no parking sign. It's like that test she had in school yesterday, having to choose which animal doesn't belong. She guessed it was the cow. This girl knows nothing of farms. On her left, the empty tennis club. In front, the man who snarls he will kill her. Let me see the gun, in her piccolo voice. A train rushes by. If she were in it, her life would be different. The world is full of noise. Rusted car, locked shed. She runs. She doesn't know if he can keep up. He's too old to catch her. He screams again, I'll kill you. She doesn't look back. There's a fair amount of violence in this, threaded throughout this book, and not all of it is gender-based. Some of it is more global, more political, and as it is in this poem called Herds. The men are unloading goats from a boat onto the sandy beach of Paleokara. A few goats escape, run wild through the port, only to be surrounded, tied up, and carted by wheelbarrow into town while a large pelican sits on the beach wall watching. This happens often, both before and after the refugees arrive, half dead from across the Mediterranean, Somali, Sudanese, Egyptian, Syrian. They've mistaken the island for Italy. Herded into a gym, police paint registration numbers on their arms as they sleep. Names are ignored. We are human. We have names, they complain. There is so little left. In some parts of the world, even the goats have names. There's another, well, it's not really an animal poem, but there is an animal in it, and it's called For the Boy Who Cut Up My Frog. And I think most of you maybe remember in school biology having a dead frog and having to dissect it in order to pass the course, which is something I hope they're not doing anymore. I don't believe they are. I think it's virtual now. But this is for the boy who cut up my frog, because I would have not passed biology and I would not gotten out of high school. You saved me from failing biology, girl frozen in place at the thought of cutting into frog flesh. As you took the scalpel from my hand, you smiled, feeling sorry for me standing there, blank, nauseated. I hope they don't do that anymore. Present a box of frogs, formaldehyde packages, their greenish legs spread and pinned. There must have been hundreds of them. My hero, my improvisational laugh partner, who so deftly cut as I forced myself not to turn away from this class lesson in how our human bodies work, that inside they were stringy, complicated, visceral. It's poor frog heart. I hope your life has been blessed, your kindness returned to you, that a cop never shot you because you were Black, If you found work you liked, perhaps something involving skilled hands like surgeon or artist or carpenter, I'm glad. Maybe you're still in the rescue business, and I would like to know, in case frogs rain down some curse, or if there's drought or floods when the need to be saved will arise again. I don't think we're getting frogs this year, but I think we are getting locusts, I read. So I may need that being saved again. So I have been obsessed for a long time with Marilyn Monroe, and I'm currently work co-editing a book about her, and I also write poems about her, and this one is called The Unpublished Poems of Marilyn Monroe. They are actually published now posthumously, but during her lifetime, she wrote them, and then she kind of put them in her drawers. Marilyn in a striped swimsuit reading Ulysses, photographed by Eve Arnold, 1955. She wanted blondes to be thought sexy and astute. She wanted herself to be thought astute. Blonde, pejorative, 19th. In a blonde moment, as in risque British burlesque performer, as in French courtesan Rosalie Duthay. Marilyn left fragments of handwritten texts, crossed out words, inserted phrases, her memories, dreams, fears, enjammed. The public knew only the lines of her Cupid's bow, but no silly woman would stand by Arthur Miller as he refused to name communists. Marilyn, surrounded by 430 books with penciled notes, writes to herself, "Our life, they have cheated you." I live on the East River. That's the river on the other side of Manhattan from the Hudson River. And the river occasionally appears in my poems, and it does very much in this one, which is titled "The East River Isn't Romantic Anymore," which are actually lyrics from a song called Greenpoint. Greenpoint is a neighborhood in Brooklyn. 16 miles of saltwater estuary that can't make up its mind in which direction to nudge the tugboats extends south from the arched bridge at Hellgate. Once a mass of ice got stuck, and for a few days, commuters could cross on foot between Brooklyn and Manhattan. They've cleaned up the water from when human waste was dumped, when Harry Houdini performed his first wooden crate escape with shackles and straps. Swimmers practice their strokes from Brooklyn Bridge Park to Manhattan, where the current runs fast. Every year, some jumper drowns. It's where the suicides go, are the lyrics of the rock song, like the father of a man I once loved, who locked up his dress shop and, arm dangling from the car window, smoked his last Marlboro as he drove down Montgomery Street, never breaking. The city's machinery fished out the car, bleeding water, and him, a man who no longer needed to make up his mind. And you're probably wondering what dead shark on the N train has to do with all of this. So I will close with the title poem. There actually was a dead shark in the New York City subway system. For all I know, there was more than one, but I know there was definitely one. So this is Dead Shark on the N train. Poor brown fish beached at Coney Island, then carried in someone's arms to the roller coaster, where another man thought it beautiful and tried to transport it home, only to abandon it on the subway. And you know how it is in New York City, nothing surprises anyone. The car reeked of dead shark, and passengers took photos, debating Instagram filters, when the conductor asked everyone to leave and closed off the train. At the end of the line in Queens, a transit worker plastic bagged the body and normalized the car. I fled Queens when I grew up. Like sharks that migrate freely, I traveled to survive, didn't want to reach the end of my line in the same place I started out from, though I ended up just on the other side of the river. When someone on the number one had a heart attack and died, his corpse rode the loop from South Ferry to the Bronx and back to South Ferry twice. Like a man in his habitat, he seemed to be napping. Unlike the shark, no one put a Metro card under his fin, cigarette in his jaws, can of Red Bull by his side for the journey. Thank you.
This is about a rock concert I went to in my early 20s, which would make it the late 60s. So it's a lot of flavor of the era in it, I think. And this was in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is Going to Eden Park. Ravi Shankar played sitar multiplied in orange, cerise, and purple, while Beardsley's gaunt mistress stared from her night garden as smoke drifted from the hash pipe. In a room adorned with rock posters, the electric grid was lit in my head. Then we all jumped into my parents' Ford Falcon, Maury, myself, Don, and his girlfriend Nora, with my brother at the wheel. We were going to a concert at Eden Park to see the James Gang, Grand Funk Railroad, and Cincinnati's own Sacred Mushroom. Descending a spiraling green wooded road from College Hill, I felt a warmth inside my brain, like that humid July day. Somebody asked if anybody wanted another hit. Don and Nora refused since they were studying transcendental meditation. I guess the other man's grass is always greener, Maury wisecracked. On Winton Road, we picked up two long-haired girl hitchhikers. They introduced themselves and one said, "I'm in trouble. I just sold 50 tabs to a narc last week." "Did he get off?" Don interjected. On McMillan Street in Clifton, a van pulled up beside us and the driver extended another pipe. We parked in Mount Adams and strolled to Eden Park, where for a moment people around the stage seemed locked in a time centuries old, like mad carnival pirates with sea-fogged eyes. Then a local FM DJ appeared with a lime green dragon winding around his abdomen and introduced the Sacred Mushroom. They launched into their signature cover of the Kinks' "I'm Not Like Everybody Else," that wandered into a labyrinth of guitar jams where the afternoon disappeared.
So
Carrie.
the reason why I want to read something is because I'm a singer-songwriter, but when I bring my songs to a songwriters thing, they said this isn't songs, these are poetry. So I'm gonna bring this to this reading and see what happens. So I'll read two short songs. The first one I wrote for my mom. Let me pull it up right here. Okay. So sorry, gotta take my gum out. Basking in the sunlight of my living room fade, I hear your live voice on the telephone fade. Time has treated you well, casting a mystical spell of your soul, you are very old. Weaving my past in a tale I was never told. You won't be around that long, the end is close. Crooked hands won't come through my hair. I won't be afraid of your glare, condemning my crazy ways. Can you hear me in your cloud of forgetting? Is the stubborn in you dissipating? Is the passing of life of time you are resisting, or the fog in your memory drifting? Growing in the shadows of your hope, I was never enough. Can you hear me in the cloud of forgetting? Is the stubborn in you dissipating? Is the passing of time you're resisting, or the fog in your memory shifting? Put some blush on your cheeks and smile at me, play. I'll arrange the lights and the camera, stay. We'll sing together that song. We'll tell each other a fairy tale that'll keep us forever young. Can you hear me in your cloud of forgetting? Is the stubborn in you dissipating? Is the passing of time you're resisting, or the fog in your memory lifting? So that's one for my mom. And let's see, which is the other one I want to read. Okay, this one is the last one I wrote. Pacing in the night, dreaming awake, thunders in my thoughts, swirling in my head, gazing at the moon, memories of wave. An old-fashioned clock rumbles in my cave. Let me dream of honey before the daybreak, pet, lover, mother, for whom my heart aches. Wrap around my heart, distance is a rope, tightening its grip, afraid it might explode. Faded photograph spread upon my bed, the treacherous time's treacherous ghost when loved one is away. I taste the honey, I silently shout. My dog licks my fingers, my tears roll out. I taste the honey, sweet as memories, soothing my sorrows, rocking me to sleep.
Myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Susana, for letting me know about this evening and hearing your work and everyone's work. And here I'll read from this book, The Migrant States, which is my latest production. A couple of poems. The avocado season is over. The season of avocados is over. The most beautiful girl in town is about to marry a man across the water. My brother is busy with his manuscript. Time to share ideas in a book has gone to the country without a hat. Accept reality. Don't live anymore in fantasy. You are getting along in years, but in Creole for two. You have a great long life ahead. Think, reflect, tell all the new families congratulations, good luck, then write again about your life in Haiti when the avocado was in bloom. You know, there's been a lot of talk and songs tonight, poetry and music. This was actually a song. I wrote it in Creole, Tans avocat est fini, and that means the avocado season is over. And I recorded it in an album called Rencontre Doute, which was a play on words, a meeting in August in the Creole language, the Haitian language. And that's out there in the music stores, recorded with various Haitian musicians. And so reading the poem now, transformed into English into a poem, which is also the words of a song. I'll read one more. This is a poem that you can find easily. It's called The Migrant's Reply, and it was written during the recent period prior to the election of Joe Biden, prior to the election of Joe Biden. The Migrant's Reply. We have been running for so long. We're tired. We want to rest. We don't want to wake up tomorrow and pack our bags. We have gone 10,000 miles. We have boarded a rowboat, tugboat, bus, freight train. We have a cell phone and some bread. Our eyes are dry. Our breath needs washing. What next? You're putting up a wall on your southern flank. What an irony. The country that accepts refugees does not want us. We qualify. We have scars, and our host governments hunted at least some of us. The rest fled in fear. Gangs do not spare even the children. White vans took away our uncles, our cousins. Do you think they've been made into plowshares? Aye, what are you saying? Too easy to wear our hearts in these words, in slings, on our faces, furrowed, perplexed. What happened to kindness to strangers? Why do we have to be herded like prisoners, held in a holding camp? We are human beings, and like you, in safer countries, we have the same obligations to save ourselves and our children. Oh, the children, look at them. Give them food and school and a new set of clothes. Give them a chance. Whether you are red or blue, the eye of the hurricane does not discriminate. We are your tumbling weeds, hurling cars, flooding banks, and we are diggers of the dikes. We can teach you so many languages and visions. You would learn so much. You would never, ever say, lock us up. So thank you. This is from the Migrant States, which was published recently by Hanging Loose Press. Thank you very much, Charles.